All right, we're going to start off by kind of going through all the different parts that make up the system. This is the electronics box with it open. You got 4 batteries inside here, charge controller, the solar UCM. So this device communicates with the shunt and the charge controller, and then phones home so we can monitor the system remotely. This is your router. This is the PoE device that powers the Starlink dish. So it takes DC power in and converts that and powers the dish so we don't have to actually invert to AC. This is your shunt that keeps track of charge going in and out of the battery bank, so we'll always know the constant state of charge. These are our breakers. We've got on the left here our PV breakers, that's off position. This is the on position. We've got our battery breaker that turns the battery on or off, and then our load breaker. So we turn down, turns the load off, up turns the load back on. So the load is all of these devices that are drawing power from the battery bank. Then we've got our terminal blocks for our positive and our negative. These are the 3 surge protectors for the Ethernet that are all running to ground. The ground, which goes to earth ground, and a grounding rod for all the cameras. Your network switch. This is a PoE device that takes DC power in, 18 to 30 or 10 to 36 volt DC in, converts it to 24 volt passive PoE, which powers this router. These 3 devices here are DC power PoE injectors. They take 18 to 36 volt DC in and regulate it to an 802.3 AT active PoE to power the cameras. This one powers the small pan tilt zoom, this one powers the box cam, and this one powers the large PTZ. Components: charge controller, UCM that phones home, your router, your PoE injector that powers the Starlink dish. This is basically your battery monitor system. So it's monitoring the battery temp as well as keeping track of the charge that's going in and out of the battery. So we'll always have a constant state of charge. Our breakers, terminal blocks, Ethernet surge protectors, network switch, PoE that powers the router, PoE that powers the small PTZ, PoE that powers the OWL box cam, and then the PoE injector that powers the large PTZ camera. We've got PV cables coming in. These run out to the solar array. We've got our negative battery. If you'll take a look at the way these batteries are wired, we've got a total of 4 100 amp hour batteries. These 2 are wired in series. And then this bank of series at 24 volt DC are wired into this bank of 24 volt DC in series via parallel cables here. So this is how the batteries will actually hook up. It's important that the battery temp sensor is on the very bottom so that this one is touching the actual metal of the battery, and then the other 2 come in on top. These devices I put on here because there's a little bit of a load here to keep the thing from falling back and stressing the hinges. All right, on the back of the box, we've got the Starlink cable that comes from the Starlink dish, which we'll show you later. That comes in here. Here we have 4 panel mount Ethernet connections that are all color coded. The first one here is your Wi-Fi access point that you can secure to wherever. This thing slides in here, and you want to spread your antennas out like that when you're done. This one, blue to blue, hooks up on here. Then you've got your 4 cameras. You've got yellow to yellow, green to green, and red to red. And this is your 200-foot section. Here we've got a vent to help vent the box in the inside. This is your egress for your PV cables coming into the box here, and this is where your ground hooks up. We've got a ground rod here. I'll leave it in the plastic. This thing needs to get pounded down in the ground as far as you can get it. And then you're going to use a flat blade screwdriver and secure this in here and then tighten it down. This is how you're going to ground the box. Very important. All right, so this is the 3/4 inch aluminum flex conduit. It has 3 Ethernet cables in it, and it's 200 feet long. So you've got these 3 cables. These are for each of the cameras. So you got 200 feet of it. It comes over. It's all color coded to the junction box. On the other side, the junction box are all labeled by colors, how they hook up. On the other side, coming out of the junction box, each one of these is 3/8 aluminum flex conduit with a single Ethernet in it. This one here, the green, comes over to the owl box camera. It hooks up green to green. This one here is 100 feet. It goes to the small PTZ with infrared. It's a 4x optical zoom camera. I've already gone ahead and secured this entire box and the camera and everything to a board, and then properly waterproofed it. So all that has to be done is this thing needs to be put on a beam or wherever, and you could strap to this and then make sure that it's level this way as well as this way. But it's all waterproofed. All you got to do is secure this to wherever you want to mount it and then run your conduit cabling. You'll also want to remove the protectant on the lens here. This is the large pan tilt zoom that has not been fully put together yet, but that's on the other end of a 100-foot of Ethernet and conduit that goes to the junction box. On this end, you've got your quick connect, red to red. This is a PoE mic interface, so it robs a little bit of the PoE power to power the mic interface. You've got your microphone here that plugs in here. This is good audio out. It goes up and into the camera. I'm going to mount this camera and everything up all on the arm, and you'll be doing the same thing. This will be all properly waterproofed. All you have to do is hang this and secure this wherever level. It'll already be all waterproofed, and all you'll have to do is mount the box and then mount the camera and then run your cabling back to the junction box. All right. Okay, here's all your panel mount RJ45 Ethernet connections on the back. Wi-Fi AP, your small PTZ camera, yellow, your green, which is your box camera, and then the red, which is the large PTZ camera. I'm going to show you how to properly hook these things up. You're going to start by loosening the cap until the cap comes down. You're then going to make sure that this end cap is loose, which allows this thing to be able to spin. You can lift up on that tab gently. You do not want to lift too much because this thing will break off. You're going to let this thing clip in, and while this thing is loose, the end cap, you're going to slide this down, make sure that it threads on, and spin it to thread on, get it nice and snug, and then while holding pressure in, tighten the end cap, which then cinches down and makes a waterproof connection. To properly disconnect these, you're going to start off by loosening the end cap, which allows this device to spin around the cable. We're going to loosen this while holding pressure in, slide this back, push your tab and disconnect, and then you can properly secure your cap. It's important that you loosen the end when you're trying to slide this on and twist it on and off. If this thing is tight and you start to spin this on, it's going to spin the entire cable. So it's important that this is loose after you clip in to allow this thing to slide down while holding pressure in and let it thread on. Make sure it threads on properly straight and doesn't cross thread. While holding pressure in, after you've tightened down here, you're going to tighten down the end cap, which then cinches down to waterproof this cable. This is the Owl box camera. I've already done some testing. I've already enabled audio. This has built-in infrared. It also has a built-in microphone. This camera is able to focus very close. I'm going to show you how you can actually mount this thing up. This one has a waterproof connection as well. The trick is to loosen the end cap here, slide it back, and then twist to loosen this one, and then you're going to slide the entire assembly back and push the tab and disconnect. For this camera here on the very bottom, you've got your tool that comes with it. You're going to loosen this set screw, and when you go to mount this thing, you're going to mount this thing inside the box by bringing the cabling around the back, and you've got a groove right here, and you've got 3 different holes in here that you can secure this thing to the upper inside corner of the box, and then make sure that your cable is like this, or you can bring it right outside the box, drill a hole to bring these things through, and then you'll be able to hook up your cabling on the outside of the box. But this thing here, once you bring this thing, you've got a little lip right here. You're going to bring this thing over, put that in first, and then hold the bottom down, and you're going to tighten your set screw. When it's slightly loose, you're able to adjust the camera. Once you get it to where you want it, you're going to basically cinch down this tool, not too tight, as it will strip the set screw, and now you're solid. I'm going to show you how to rehook up this waterproof connection here. You're going to lift up slightly on the tab here, just ever so slight. You know, let that click in. You're going to slide this thing down. You've got a rubber gasket right here. You're going to slide this thing down and then twist. It compresses the gasket here. You're then going to take this and slide it in like so. Bring your cap over, bring it down, and then you're going to cinch that down, which squeezes down that rubber in there, and then waterproofs that connection. Don't worry about this. I'm going to go ahead and tape this back so it's in this position like this. You're only going to make the one Ethernet connection, so it sends power and Ethernet signals over one cable. So here's your Starlink dish. After you unpack it, this is the surface that faces the sky. This is the back of the Starlink dish. It comes with a tilt mount already installed, and you guys ordered a pull mount adapter. The trick to getting this thing installed is basically pulling this assembly out, and then you're going to slide the pull mount adapter into here. That's inside this box, which I haven't opened up. The cable, which will be coiled up on the outside of the box, it's just like an Ethernet cable, but it's going to slide in here, and it's going to fasten itself. And it clicks right in. In order to pull it out, you're basically just going to pull it out. It's basically self-disconnects. So the tab looking up, sliding in, and make sure it goes all the way in until it's properly seated if you look down in there.